NATO to train hundreds of Ukrainian troops in U.S. and Germany. And let's read. The United States and Germany have announced they will expand their training of Ukrainian troops inside their own borders, for further embroiling them in a war with Russia. The Pentagon announced Tuesday that it will train Ukrainian troops at the Fort Sill, Oklahoma, on how to operate the Patriot missile system, the most advanced weapon sent to Ukraine to date. The Pentagon's announcement is, in the words of the Washington Post, the latest test of Russia President Vladimir Putin's threshold for Western intervention in the conflict. Last month, the Biden administration announced that it would send a Patriot missile battery capable of downing Russian aircraft flying over Russian territory to Ukraine. Last week, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, I always said that name badly, I always say that, officials announced that they would send another battery of their own. Quote, training for Ukrainian forces on the Patriot air defense system will begin as soon as next week at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Pentagon spokesman Brigadier General Patrick Ryder said on Tuesday, quote, the training will prepare approximately 90 to 100 Ukrainian soldiers to operate, maintain, and sustain the defense system over a training course expected to last several months, end quote. Pointing to the extent of interoperability, that already exists between NATO military command structure and the Ukrainian military, Ryder said, here's a quote, there has been training of Ukrainian forces in the United States before, as well as development. Ukrainians have attended our professional military education school. They have embedded in headquarters of some of our unit. They have embedded in headquarters of some of our units. Okay. The Pentagon official also confirmed that the U.S. aims to train approximately 500 troops at a time at U.S. military facility in Germany on, quote, combined arms warfare involving both the Bradley infantry fighting vehicle that they are already being sent to Ukraine and the main battle tanks that NATO is expected to provide in the near future. So the United States is turning up the game. And NATO, because that's when I say the United States in this context, I'm talking about NATO, and NATO is the United States. It's one and the same, because the United States provides the majority of NATO backing and funding. So NATO is turning up and wanting to prolong this war. And it's just astonishing how some people on the left, including some of the boutique left, now we call the NATO left, are still kind of going along with this, are still kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I was for it in the beginning, but now not so much kind of thing. I think Kyle has this kind of stance. Look where it's coming to, though. The Pentagon's announcements comes after U.S. President Joe Biden announced a $3 billion arms shipment to Ukraine, the largest to date, and after Congress passed a bill allocating another $50 billion to the war. The latest weapons package included the deployment of dozens of Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, which essentially function as small tanks. Even as they pour unprecedented amounts of weapons into Ukraine, the NATO powers are preparing to even further escalate their involvement in the war. Further escalate. Sending weapons and further escalating. On top of that, a major inflection point is expected to come with the January 20th summit of Ukraine contact group in Ramstein, Germany. Commenting on the upcoming summit, The Guardian wrote, quote, "A key moment is expected to come next week when Western defense ministers meet on 20th January for the next Ukraine contact group meeting to discuss future military aid. Reports suggest the U.S. is now considering announcing at that meeting it will send Stryker armored combat vehicles." This is our money being spent on all of these advanced weaponry, turning up for and pushing towards and instigating towards World War III. On Tuesday, German foreign minister, I'll leave it there, you can read the name, visited Ukraine, declaring Germany's solidarity and support, which includes further arms delivery. Last week, Germany announced that it would send 40 infantry fighting vehicles into combat. MIDAR, infantry fighting vehicles into combat. Poland and Lithuania have announced that they plan to send Leopard 2 main battle tanks to Ukraine, but that would require Germany's permission, as these countries signed export agreements as a condition of receiving the tank. After meeting with bearer Bach, Ukraine foreign minister Minister Kabela commented, quote, "Every minute during the visit, the topic of Leopard invisibly accompanied us." He added, quote, "I think that German government somewhere deep down understands that this decision will be made and the tanks will be transferred to Ukraine." Commenting on the discussion about sending main battle tanks, a U.S. official told Politico, quote, "If they want to take back territory, they need tanks." To date, the war in Ukraine has killed or injured over 200,000 Ukrainians and Russians, according to statistics cited by U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Mark Miley. And I'm going to leave it there. You can go check out the rest of this article. NATO to train hundreds of Ukrainian troops in U.S. and Germany. Just the escalation of war. I see that super chat. So I'm going to read super chats and cut this segment here, but I can leave with these final words here for this segment as, I mean, just the escalation by NATO and the United States, one and the same, of this Ukrainian war, the escalation also at the same time with escalating war with Germany, is just showing that the big bully United States is throwing a temper tantrum because they're losing their unipolar world, and everybody's not falling in line on an international scale.